Dear boomers, how many of you watching this in your older boomer or even older than boomer years live alone? How many of you live alone? Do you like living alone? Or do you prefer living with someone else, whomever it may be? So, what I'm going to be talking about today is how there are remarkable qualities that you have to either have already or adapt in order to live alone successfully. So I would say that the most important thing is to value the times that you have to be with yourself, to nurture the love that you have for your animals, if you have any. I highly suggest getting a dog or a cat or any number of other animals to commune with. As you may know by now, I have 2 dogs. One is an older dog about to reach her 13th birthday. And then there's Maso, who's 15 months. And the 2 of them seem to help each other thrive. I don't know how long Pearl has, my older dog has, to live. But I try to live in the moment with her. I had been panicking a while ago about her, her journey towards the Rainbow Bridge, as it were. But I've decided to live in the moment with her, and I love her so much. So we're going to explore 9 attributes that make our our alone times and maybe living alone times as older people very memorable, very remarkable. So some people find great solace in journaling and meditation, and that's a good way to start the day, by the way. You start the day, a morning routine that helps you set the tone for the rest of the day. And lately, I must say, I've been falling short on that. I have been doing it for quite some time, but I have fallen short watching the news because I am fearful of having an authoritarian dictatorship take over our beautiful democracy in November. But I'm beginning to think that maybe I should spend my morning time doing something else because setting the mood for the day and about the panic of what may or may not happen is just a waste of time. I can do it later on when I have fortified myself with meditation and journaling, but not at the very beginning of the day. If any of you do that, I highly suggest that you don't. And so then we can turn to people who have embodied the independence with solo travels, and who and by traveling alone and by making plans to go somewhere by yourself or with your dogs, you are laying the foundation for great self-sufficiency. And that is a very, very good feeling, to feel like you're making your decisions that don't really entail anybody else, unless you are traveling to a place where you will be meeting somebody. Of course, you have to include them in your plans. Then you can talk about people who engage in new creative activities like playing an instrument, painting, very, very important for those of you who have artistic inclinations and who may have started your painting career earlier on and you've dropped it because you feel lonely. Well, get back to it as soon as possible. Or in the case of my Aunt Helen, who started painting at age 97. Bravo to her. And I even have one of her paintings that I have hung up. It's very beautiful. She was a very beautiful person. She attributed her longevity to taking naps and going to church. So that was her thing. Then there's you can read books and have book clubs reading books is one of the most important things that people our age can engage in. It helps with the brain. It helps with creating new neural pathways in the brain and creating new ideas to embody into your own life. And it might even get you to write your own book. And that's always something exciting. People have goals and aspirations to be an author, but it may not pan out for a lot of people. But when you have book clubs, you can share your own wisdom. You can, there's something about books that give me a great sense of solace. When we would enter my childhood home, you'd go into the front door, and immediately to your right, the whole wall was filled with books. That was my mother, my dear mother, who was not college educated, but she was a book learned person. And I have a lot of books that I need to read, and I vow to read at least a quarter of them by the 1st of January 2025. So that is a very important. I love books, and maybe it's because of the way I was raised. I would prefer to read a book with just, a print book, but I do read a lot on my Kindle as well. So emotional resilience in being alone. You develop resilience. You develop an ability to look around your life with a sense of gratitude for the things that are yet to come and for the things that you have. And you look around and you think, well, there's a good opportunity here for decluttering. And keep in mind that clutter is a sign of trauma. And we need to realize that clutter and removing clutter frees us from that burden of trauma. It might be all you have to do to free your soul from the past and move into the future. Going into nature every day with your animals or by yourself is part of creating emotional resilience. A love for nature, listening to bird song, watching little toads hop across the road. The deer in the park, we do live near a very walking distance to a park, see the deer, see the wildlife upon the river, or there is a body of water there. It's not a river, but there is a body of water there that houses a lot of waterfowl, and you can hear the bullfrogs at night, and during any kind of time of day, you hear these bullfrogs, which Maso goes, wow, that's pretty cool. And I say, bullfrog. I'm teaching him English. Bullfrog. Oh, my goodness. And of course, always fostering a attitude of gratitude. As I just said, gratitude is probably the most important thing to concentrate on, because it helps you to grow a sense of contentment with your life. Being content with anything that you're developing within yourself, anything within yourself, and try not to get too absorbed in what is going on outside of yourself. In the news, for instance, or what people think is important, or listening to gossip. No gossip. No gossip. We grow by appreciation of everyone in our lives and the times we spend with people who come to visit or we go to visit them. We live in that moment of total love for them and appreciation for the people that we love at all times, appreciation. And then in that act of appreciation, we develop empathy and compassion for everything we have contributed to their history and everything they've done to contribute to my history. Of course, it's all one. We're all one. And we need to realize that all of the disagreements about politics is really missing the point. And to get into this thing about America is a terrible place to live, well, it isn't. So we have, one of the big things that we elderly people can do in terms of feeling that being alone is a little bit too much. So we need to have variety in our lives. Volunteering is something people can do. You can volunteer at a local senior center or a local library. What comes to mind for me would be to get up and move and pick up trash along the roads. I've always wanted to do that. I think that would be a very good thing to do. There's all kinds of things you can do as a volunteer effort. Oh, of course, volunteering in a civic way to help build our communities, make them stronger, and get involved in this next political situation in whatever way you feel is important. I recommend doing it with a sense of joy instead of this hate that you have developed for your country. So another thing is, set boundaries. Don't just say yes to everything. Don't say yes to things you really don't want to do, but say yes to the things that you really think would bring you a great sense of accomplishment and happiness. So be aware of your boundaries. Don't say yes to everything. And actually saying no is very liberating, very, very liberating. So we need to balance solitude, as I just said, with social interaction. And then we make our alone time more special. So there you have that. I hope that you enjoy it. And don't forget to look for a video that comes up over here or maybe over here and watch it and subscribe to the channel.